all set? All right, Mary? It's cable TV all set, and we can, oh, they say they're ready. Oh, okay. With the hour being after 2, let's get started. Okay, this is the Sewer and Water Commissioners meeting of April 26th. Per the governor's declaration of emergency, he has suspended certain provisions of the open meeting law. As a result, this meeting will be held remotely. Any votes will be done by roll call. So with that, let's get started. First is the abatements. Any question on the abatements? With a couple water and a sewer. And if not, I'll entertain a motion to
well, the question is on the sewer side.
Okay.
On the sewer side of it.
Yes.
Is NTU faulty readings. Why so many?
They match the water ones, but Mary?
So on the sewer ones, we're currently in the process. We've just opened the schedule since last year. So on some of these accounts, we have estimated for a year because we haven't been able to get into the property to correct the equipment. We're now able to gain access. So once we change the equipment out, then we're realizing that the accounts had been overestimated. So unfortunately, I believe there's going to be quite a few abatements going forward because we have about 400 appointments that we've had to make.
So how are we doing on getting into people's houses now?
Good. So we have about 5 scheduled per day.
Okay.
We're at a point that we have about 25 appointments each week.
All right.
So we're getting there. It's going to take us quite some time, but we're off to a very good start.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the abatements?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor, say aye. Roll call. John Spillane.
Aye.
Glenn Maffey.
Aye.
And Patrick.
Aye.
And Bill. Aye. All right. Mary, I will sign the abatements and bring them over later today. Okay, next is the minutes. We got the minutes for February 22nd and also March 23rd. And let me just see, on February 22nd, on the 3rd page, Planning Board request for comments, revised plans 1363, 1391 Main Street. I have 2 T's in my name at the very beginning there. And down, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th line, it says Mr. Johnson, and then the line below it, it says, and is in the process of finding. I think we wanted to say finding. I'm missing D. And down 2 more lines, that building, Mr. Mattson questions if the commission still wants to go with individual meetings. I think that was individual meters. And that's all I had. Anyone else have anything on the minutes of February 22nd? Not hearing anybody, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as amended for February 22nd.
So moved.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right, roll call vote. John?
Aye.
Glenn?
Aye.
Patrick?
Aye.
And Bill, aye. Okay, minutes of March 23rd. And does anyone have any changes to the March 23rd minutes? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve the minutes of March 23rd.
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
All right, roll call vote. John Spillane,
Aye.
Len Murphy,
Aye.
Patrick,
Aye.
and Bill, aye. Okay, that takes care of the abatements and minutes. Superintendent status report. Bernie?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. The grant program is still going with the GIS work is continuing. Camp Dresser and McGee, who had done a lot of GIS work in the past for the town, was out with Ray Pierce today, and they were ironing out some differences that we have in clarification of some of the locations and the way that some of the information was gathered in the past. So we finally got the two engineers together, and we're working to get the whole package placed back together and back on track. But we're still collecting data as we speak. We had one new well operator begin today. His name is Paul DiFiore, and he will be our new well operator. The distribution crew is continuing to work with on maintenance and locations for the upcoming Route 1A state project. The materials for the Delaney plant for the filter rehabilitation project has been delivered, and we are anticipating the first pair taking out of service the first week of May, and that project will begin. We had a pre-bid walk for the generator project. That was on Friday the 16th in the snow. And the bid opening for this is tomorrow at 11 o'clock. We had 5 contractors show up for the preliminary bid walk. Work on Plain Street has been taken care of. Approximately 700 feet of 8-inch main from Lincoln Road to the end pipe on Plain Street was connected, being filled and flushed. It'll be pressure tested and chlorinated this week. The drying lagoon at the drying lagoon at the Willis plant will hopefully be cleaned and retrofitted with a new curtain in approximately 3 to 4 weeks. It's still pretty muddy, and we can't really move that sludge around too well. But we're hoping that if we have some more another dry spell, we'll be able to accomplish that feat. The annual statistical report was reported on April 8th to the DEP. Unfortunately, we had a 10.6% unaccounted for water this year. And for my best estimates, it's because we didn't have the building fires that we had the year prior. We didn't have the bleed-offs because North Street and Baker Street were taken care of. And we no longer can use our best guess estimates. We have to basically show them how we came up with our estimates, and that's using SCADA system now. So unfortunately, that was a little higher than it's been in the past. Hopefully we'll be able to, hopefully we'll be able to get that down under 10 as well.
What's the best guess estimates of what?
The best guess estimates of what we lose during a main break, Bill. Pretty much.
Okay.
And we are still at 64 gallons per capita per day, which I'm happy to report that that's still in good shape.
I have a question on that, on our upcoming water withdrawal permit. If you miss two consecutive years, then it impacts the ability to do outdoor watering twice a week.
Right.
Is that 2 of the unaccounted for water, or 2 of the 65 gallons per day per person, whatever, or is one of each, or is it?
I'll have to check on that, Bill. I'm not 100% sure on that ruling, but I will check on that.
What's the state standard? It's 65 gallons per person per day?
I believe so.
And we're at 64?
Yeah, we've been under, and I believe last year we were 63 as well, so we've been under.
We haven't missed yet.
We haven't. Exactly.
In the past we've gone over and under in the past, but last year and the year before we were under. My question was, all right, we got one thing where we've missed. Let's say this current year we go to 66 gallons per, we're over that. Does that count as missing two, or is it, nope, you've got one in each column? And Bernie said he was gonna check on
I
that.
believe you need to meet both criteria.
Oh, okay, so we're already,
If you miss one or the other, you fail.
all right, so if we missed one or another on the, next year, we will, or this, I guess this current year, we would, have considered to have missed twice. Doesn't matter which one we miss this year.
Right.
Is this tied to unaccounted water? Does that impact the gallons per person per day?
Yes. Could
It does.
potentially, yes.
Yeah, okay. And so that's one sort of indication of where we're heading. That's high. We could be heading above 65. Are there other indications? I mean, do we have to wait till the end of the year, or can we tell as we go whether we're on a good path or a bad path?
It's difficult right now, Glenn, because I don't have what the production. I have the production, but I don't have what we've actually sold. So it's really difficult. It's really difficult to tell. All I can say is we haven't had as many main breaks this year. We did leak detection last year as well. We've shored up a lot of different things. We don't have as many, like I said, as many bleeders and such. So I'm very, very hopeful that we can meet that below the 10% unaccounted for water this year.
The main breaks have nothing to do with the gallons per capita per day,
Right.
because the gallons per capita per day are based on the finished water that you're able to sell. So the question is, the difference between what you actually produced and what you sold is the key. And trying to refine those numbers and get, the best and most accurate, consumption figures before you report.
And
So
that's
leaks have nothing to do with the gallons per capita per day.
I was actually talking about the unaccounted for water, but you're right, Rick. It is that's correct for the gallons per capita per day.
Right, and the real crux of our unaccounted for water was over-registration in some of the wells, significant over-registration. And we're working to correct that by looking into what type of metering systems we can use for these at the sources.
Okay. Bernie, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but
That's fine.
I knew he had a question at that, at least I did, so continue.
So we had to take we took our PFAS samples, Bill, and we got our results back. Although our results are under what the maximum contaminant level is, we still have to resample because we were over the method detection limit. So right now we have confirmatory samples that need to be taken, and they need to be taken from each and every individual well on each side of so for the Delaney side and for the Willis side. And those sample bottles will be in tomorrow, and we'll be taking those samples shortly. This is gonna pretty much tell DEP or guide DEP whether or not we're gonna have monthly monitoring for PFAS or whether it'll be quarterly sample for PFAS. And that depends on how each individual well comes back in its concentrations.
So what is the maximum and what did we show? So how close were we to the
Maximum contaminant level is 20 parts per trillion and the sum of 6 compounds. I believe School Meadowbrook was at 15.8 and Minebrook was at 3.1 or 3.31.
3.31, Rick. Yes, you're right.
So 15, so we're
And
still
Brooks are under the maximum contaminant level, but the fact that we had compounds present over the method detection level,
right.
That triggers the second set of sampling.
Okay. All right, Bernie? Anything else?
That's all I have for you today, Bill.
Anyone have any questions for Bernie, other than what we've already asked? Okay, correspondence 1, Commonwealth Dance letter dated April 12th. And they originally wanted to use the Jarvis Farm for their recital, but they now are going to use Norwood High School, and so they are canceling the rental, and we're going to send them the $150 application fee back to them. Any questions, anyone?
comment. I don't think we should have rented it in the first place, Bill.
All right,
So I'm glad to see this come out back, and it's a commercial enterprise, get them out of there.
okay, well, I tend to agree with you that we'd prefer not to let a lot of commercial in there. Next item, new business, Jarvis Farm application, May 14th through 16th, the Boy Scouts Troop 44, local troop. And they have been here before. Any questions or comments?
Dominic, okay.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, John.
I noticed they wanted a burn permit. Are they gonna burn on a barrel, or what's the story?
My experience is, and I've participated in some of these camping trips with this troop, is that they do use a half barrel, and that's the only way they burn.
Okay.
All right,
They'd need to deal with the fire department on that as well, John.
right.
Have to get a permit from the fire department.
Yeah, they're on their application, they haven't inquired pending our approval. Any further questions? If not, I'll, Patrick?
One, they're having 4 vehicles there?
I believe it, 6, it says on the application.
And obviously our parking lot isn't prepared for vehicles yet. So, okay, just want to know that.
All right, anything else? Other than that, I'll entertain a motion on new business 1, the Jarvis Farm application by Troop 44.
I'll make that motion. So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor, John Spillane,
Aye.
Glenn,
Aye.
Patrick,
Abstain.
and Bill, aye. So that's 3-0-1, Mary. Okay, speaking of the parking lot, continuing business, number 1, Jarvis Farm parking lot update. Rick, do you want to, I believe you were there.
Yeah, sure. A couple of weeks ago, Commissioner Fasanello, Bernie, John was present, and a couple of others met with representative of the Southeast Regional Office of the DEP to go over exactly what we would like to do up there in terms of putting in an asphalt parking lot. She has been provided with all the information that I think she needs to bring it up the chain in the DEP. It's my understanding that it's above her level as to whether to approve or disapprove. What they need to do is have their legal people look at it and their environmental people, and they will let us know if we need to file a full application or if there are anything else that needs to be done on our end. But they do have right now, as far as I know, all the information that they need to at least get the process rolling. So it is moving forward. And as soon as I get more details, I'll make the board aware of the findings.
Did we get an indication of, when they might get back to us?
No, they're still working very much remotely.
Okay.
So they didn't give a time frame, but I can certainly reach out to her and find out where she's at with it.
Okay. Glenn?
Chairman, I just have a couple questions. I've been holding off on asking, but just since we have it on the agenda, Rick, could you just talk a little bit about some of the techniques that improve the water quality? So what it does to runoff in a parking area. So are we talking oil separators and catch basins? And what are the best case scenarios? To what degree will water quality be improved by putting a parking lot in there?
The actual water quality in itself, you were spot on, Glenn, with the petroleum-based products are the biggest concern.
Okay.
Petroleum-based products run off of road salts, de-icing agents, and things of that sort. And there are different types of techniques that can be used in sensitive areas. They are all, one of them is like a Vortechnics unit, where it'll separate the water that has the petroleum products and the salt in it and deposit it into a sump that needs to be pumped later on. And the clean water will discharge back to the groundwater, which is what we're gonna probably end up doing here if we do move forward with the construction. So there'll be no loss of groundwater because of the impervious surface. It'll simply go back into the ground. The thing with any type of stormwater management system is that it needs to be maintained, regardless of who installs it and where it's installed. It needs to be maintained, and that would certainly be the case with this one. But there are a couple of different units out there that are trademarked. I don't know which one would be best for us in this particular case, but our engineering department is working on it, and we'll get the most environmentally sound one that we can get should we move forward with this.
Okay, that's really interesting. I guess the separate question just came up. So if it goes into the groundwater, then the water would be diverted away from the pond toward the field. If it goes into the pond, that's not going to be groundwater necessarily, right?
Right. The groundwater migrates naturally towards our wells from that pond and that whole site actually.
Oh, okay.
So anything that we reintroduce back into the ground would replenish our wells.
Okay. So you could go back into the pond itself with the clean runoff?
We plan to infiltrate it into the ground.
Away from the pond.
Yeah, I mean, it would be possible, I guess, to discharge to the surface water, but we haven't really looked at that yet.
Okay. All right. Two options. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. Thanks, Rick. Next item number 2, Sepridge facility hours. You recall at our last meeting, one of the haulers was asking if we could extend the current hours. And in our discussions, it was brought up that when the original siting of that location off of Robbins Road, that there was, I believe the zoning board restricted the hours based on trying to operate only while school was in the building, as opposed to when kids would be out and walking home or.
And I think, Mr. Chairman, that's where we need to start. We should simply just write a memorandum to the zoning board and request an extension of the hours, or ask what would be necessary to extend the hours. Because without their vote or a reversal of their vote, there's really not a lot we can do. And honestly, I don't think there's anything to be gained by extending the hours. We work, our technician works 7 to 3:30, and I believe we're open right now 6.5 hours, Bernie, or something like that. So we're really only gonna gain like a half an hour.
Right, it's 8:30 to 11:45, and then 12:30 to 2 p.m. And so as Rick said, you're really not going to gain that much time, to be honest with you, to be quite frank, especially if the zoning board and was trying to do what they want to do, is to keep head septic toilets and such away from children and only use the school hours.
Right, the issue is the truck traffic.
Yeah. Did anyone talk to the hauler about the issue that it wasn't a simple, we just take a vote and change the hours?
I did, Bill. I spoke to Mr. Orlando himself, and I explained to him how the process was, and how the hours came about, and how it would be if they were to be changed. And I told him that I was going to bring it in front of you, and to see what the board's decision was, and how you wanted to go forward.
Did you get a sense from him whether he had said it's not worth it, okay, or no, I really need those hours, please see if you can get it changed?
I did not, Bill. I merely told him that that it was the hours were based on how the zoning board felt at the time, and I said that I would bring it in front of you and see if you were supportive in changing the hours, or if the hours should stay at the way they are right now.
It's kind of hard for me to know. I mean, if you could write a memo to us and say it's important to the company, to the hauler, to extend the hours, because and he gave us his reasons and exactly what hours he was looking for, and then we could just decide if we could do it or if we couldn't, on how important it is to them. And it sounds like we're not going to get any more business out of it. It's just more of a convenience to them, and
Yeah. I'm sorry, Glenn. That's basically all it is. It's more of a convenience for them.
yeah, I'm open to that. I just maybe they want to write a memo or something to us to explain, why they need it. That would make it easier.
Bernie, could you contact them and guess we'd like to know make sure they know what hours we currently are and what potential we could go, but that it's not our decision. We'd have to go get the ZBA's approval, and then of course it's our decision if we want to do it also. So
I will, sir.
okay, next item, votes on article.
Mr. Chairman?
Oh, Patrick?
Yeah, it might help us, it would help us, if the Halls would come before us and explain their situation, so we could have a give and take on this. I know it's hard with Zoom, but that would be the best way to do it. That's what do if it weren't for the COVID. Do you think they'd like a chance to come before the board one way or another and tell us
Let me make
what
a suggestion, Pat, here. Bernie, why don't you talk to them, and if you think that it's something that we potentially could do, ask if they'd like to come before us to make their case and explain. It'd be over a Zoom meeting, and just be like we have Bernie and Rick.
Sure. I'll be more than happy to reach out and see if I can get it on the next agenda, Bill.
All right, Patrick, we'll see what we can do.
Thank you.
All right. Number 3, continuing number business. It was an oversight of mine. We've discussed Article 7 and 9. Those were the articles that for this fiscal year that we're currently in, at the time when we put them on, we were concerned that we might come up with a shortfall in the budget and might need to take some retained earnings. As we covered last meeting, for Article 7, which is for the water, with the Pennington Crossing Building 3 come in, we're not going to need any additional retained earnings, so we need to recommend no action on that. So when at the town meeting, when the moderator asked me for our vote, I'll have a vote for them other than, yes, we put it on the warrant. The second one is Article 9, and that's to use some sewer retained earnings to make up for a shortfall. And in that case, we actually do have a shortfall for this fiscal year. And so as we discussed, it was we need 200,000 out of sewer retained earnings. So I'd like to make a motion that we will recommend no action on Article 7, and on Article 9 we recommend transfer of 200,000 from sewer retained earnings to supplement the sewer operating budget.
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion? Being none, take a roll call. John Spillane? John?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't catch it. Glenn?
Aye.
Patrick?
Abstain.
All right, and Bill, aye. So that's 3-0-1 on both of those articles. Thank you very much, folks. Number 4, Edgewood Development entrance fees. Rick, I know you were involved with this. I remember meeting with these people, but maybe you could give us the latest update. I know you were going to talk to them.
Right, back in 2018, as most of you probably recall, when they were proposing to build the Liberty Village apartments, 1034 East Street, the LaRusso project, Edgewood Development. There was a question as to what the actual connection fees for the properties should be. Issues such as pre-existing buildings, pre-existing usage, betterment assessments that had previously been paid on the sewer side all came up. In an effort to allow them to continue forward with their process and obtain their building permits, they put the fees, the connection fees, in an escrow account for the full full cost of what the connections would be under the commission's most expensive scenario, I believe, which is scenario A.
Correct.
So what they did was they was 462, you have it before you, 462,030 that they put into escrow for water connections, and 312,660 for the sewer connections. These buildings are currently starting to be occupied. So we need to get this thing settled out and establish exactly what those connection fees are going to be. Now, if you decide that the amounts that they paid, then that's what it is. If you decided something different, then that's what it is. So we need to get this money out of escrow, off the books, and into your accounts to get it resolved. So it's up to the commission as to what you want to charge for fees.
Did you contact whoever?
I did.
And they, or did
I
they
did.
just?
I have not heard back from them.
Okay.
I think one of the points of contention again is a portion of that property was assessed betterments on the sewer side. So what that would do is that would dramatically reduce the sewer connection fees. If we charged per unit, I believe the sewer connection fees would total $22,800, which is far cry from the 312,660. So, but I am not sure that all of the units are entitled to the betterments. I think they may have added a couple of connections over there. So we'll have to come up with some sort of fee.
Okay.
On the water side, there may be a minimal credit due because of the pre-existing businesses that were there. But I don't see a whole lot on that side.
Well, if I remember meeting with them, particularly on the water side, we have option A, B, and C as to how we charge an entrance fee. And, their contention was, I've got two 4-inch connections, and they go for $84,000 a piece. That's the way I want to go. And our contention was, well, no, that's not, and our rules say we'll take the highest, which I believe was option A. One thing that's somewhat related to this, I think we might want to take a look at our entrance fee in water, where we give 3 options. It's a little confusing in that you would say, well, wait a minute, I'm a barber shop, and option B tells me how to do that. And then we go and say, well, no, you're going to pay the most. We either should have one, or maybe define that if you're a resident, you only use A. If you're a commercial, you only use B. If you're an industrial, you only use C. It's something to give some thought, maybe at the time of the rate hearing. But as far as addressing the connection fees, Rick, you think that they potentially on sewer have a dramatically lower one if we take into account some of...
Right, because the connection fees or the per unit cost per unit for something that was assessed is $150 as opposed to $1,670.
67.
I mean, it seems reasonable that if you've already paid a betterment, that we should charge at the lower rate, but if it's already been assessed. But where the buildings are completely different, would you or Bernie be able to come up with some sort of logic that says, yeah, we agree, some of it, you get a credit for X and you owe Y, and come up with a dollar amount? Or is that $312,660 a figure that takes into account some of the existing connections before they demolished the building and built a new one?
Mr. Chairman?
Patrick?
Yes, why couldn't our chairman, namely you, and the director meet together and figure this out,
We can do that.
and then bring it to the commission to vote on it.
All right.
That sounds to me like the two of you can thrash this out, figure out what's fair and equitable for both the town and the company, and that'll be it.
Okay. All right. I'm willing to do some thrashing. So, all right. We'll meet with Bernie and Rick, and we'll do some thrashing, and we'll have something that we can offer to the board, and also then off to the applicant. So, okay. Discussion items. The MII and Metron Fernier water meters. I don't know if anybody got a chance to look at their website. It is something different than what we currently have. I can tell you that, Rick, you've been attempting to get information from our current vendor for our water, the KP system, and not having much luck, or at least you haven't asked anything to me.
That's the concern, Mr. Chairman, is that given the current business dealings of the Mueller Corporation and where I think they're going, I'm a little concerned that they may not even be offering their product in the next 4 to 5 years, unless they make some dramatic manufacturing and technical support improvements. The city of Somerville is starting to migrate away from Mueller, I believe is what I was told. I believe the town of Bridgewater is doing the same. What I would like to do with this particular system is run a small pilot, like similar to what we did before we engaged with KP Electronics, and pick selected accounts and see exactly how it works. Now, this is more smart meter type technology where the resident or the business owner can go onto the phone, go to the app, and see the real-time usage. I know some people are concerned about that. Some people love it. Others are fearful of having that type of technology in town because they think that we're watching. So we need to find that happy median. I don't know exactly what the cost of going to this would be. We do have it in place at Siemens, and it works very well for them. They were reading their meters. I think they were reading the meter every 5 minutes. They have that capability. If you remember, a few years back, they had a significant leak down there that they insisted wasn't a leak, and eventually they came forward and told us that it was a leaking valve on one of their cooling towers. But in any event, the technology is already in place at Siemens through this same company, through Mass Installation, through the Metron Farnier Corporation. I believe it ties very nicely with our billing system. Obviously, it ties with our billing system, or we wouldn't be sending Siemens bills.
That's what that was my question, was the question of compatibility with getting the information into our
the only concern I have, it's similar to an old system, or I believe it was Hexagram, where it was all cellular based. I don't know what happens if and when the networks may go down. So that's my only concern with this thing. But what I would like to do is have Mass Installation, once we can get back to in-person meeting, come in and give you guys a demonstration as to exactly how it works. I mean, they can give you a brief overview via Zoom. If you'd like, we can do that. But I think in-person would be a little bit better.
I think
I'm a little concerned as to where Mueller's going. And ever since they've taken over from KP, it's been just short of a disaster. There's no technical support.
Yep.
We can't obtain the transmitters. They were shipping transmitters that were the wrong frequency. They were shipping transmitters that just didn't work. So we need, I think, maybe eventually stop migrating away from them.
Okay, my concern was that it could work with our billing system, which
Yes,
apparently that's okay. In terms of using the cellular networks, I mean, we have problems right now with the radio transmitters that at times we just don't get readings from accounts, and you know, next door it's working fine, so it's probably worth.
It just, I mean, there was a point in time where we were getting the readings from Somerville. Yeah, we were capturing Somerville's readings.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, when it was KP, I mean, it was a powerful network, and it was working. We had our ups and downs with it, but nothing to the degree that we're currently experiencing with Mueller. So again, it's just my opinion that we need to start, you know, looking somewhere else, because I don't think the support and the you know, the quality manufacturing is going to be there.
Do we have any sense of the cost of converting? I mean, we've invested a lot of money.
I think the biggest cost would be
John, okay. John Hassenjäger just joined.
I think the biggest cost would be in the meters themselves. The current meters, the Zeners, I believe, are compatible. Some of the older ones may not.
Okay.
So I just don't want to get into a situation where we need to buy a Metron meter to make this system operate, because it becomes proprietary at that point, and it's not, you know, it's not really good business sense.
All right. Did everybody get a chance to at least look at their short video just to get a sense of what they do? If not, it would be probably worthwhile, and I think maybe it would be worthwhile to, you know, try a demonstration, and then we can start to figure out, you know, the pluses and minuses on it, and what we want to do. But what Rick's saying is what I'm hearing from the office staff there, that Mueller has not been particularly responsive once they took over KP. So any further questions? Bernie?
Yeah, just to let you know, Bill, the last 2 years that I've dealt with them, it's just been one horror show after another. I echo the director's you know, sentiments. This was they just seem like they dropped the ball at every turn. You know, we've asked for additional training in the office and stuff, and they just don't seem, they point fingers. They go, well, you should be talking to this person, or you should be talking to that person, in the same realm. And it just it always seems to it's like a dog chasing its tail. It never gets to seems to get resolved. So I think that it's well worth looking at something different.
All right. What's the sense of the board? Glenn, any thoughts?
I'd like to learn more. This sounds interesting. I do have a lot of questions about price and how we would incorporate a new system, but you know, I'd like to hear more, and then I can ask those questions.
Patrick, any thoughts, questions?
Yes. When we first had this system put in, one of the questions I asked was, could it be used by other utilities, the system, since it was our own radio system? And I don't know where that ever went. I never got any feedback from town administration about that. But this time, if we're using cellular, maybe the utilities would be interested in using our system, paying us for that, and making it a lot easier for everyone.
Okay.
So I would ask that this system, if we decide to maybe consider it, we should talk to the gas company, especially since they've been bought by a new entity, and they might be open to some type of arrangement with a reporting system.
Okay. John Spillane, any questions, thoughts, comment?
Not at this time, Bill.
Okay. John Hassenjäger.
Yeah, no, I've been listening as HP 510, but no, I don't have any comments at this time.
All right. So I think Rick and Bernie, you got a sense of that we're interested to investigate further. whether they want to come on a Zoom call, you know, take some select accounts and, you know, just try it out. Okay, the last item is fall annual town meeting capital improvement projects. Bernie?
So right now, Bill, we're taking a look at exactly what direction we want to go. Obviously, we want to have the SCADA 2 upgrade for the Delaney treatment plant, and we want to incorporate the sludge disposal that was going to be implemented, but we didn't receive the proper the proper quote from Right Pierce. So we're going to try to incorporate that together. The Willis plant is going to need some upgrades as well. We're looking at that right now. We're using the asset management plan. Also, we'd like to have some more cast iron water main replacement. I know of 3 areas right now: Plain Street, Rhodes Ave, June Street, and South Street that could really use an upgrade, and we'll have to take a look. It would be cast iron water replacement number 4 on this point. We're also looking at tank redundancy and its pipe design. That would be the design of a secondary water main and for distribution.
Bernie, could you just back up on that one? The dog had some comments about that, so if you just go to that again.
Dog is in favor.
Sorry about that.
So basically, it would be the design of the central storage tank water main design. It would be redundancy for that area. It was told to me that that could be a very, very vital piece,
Okay.
and like I said, that would be the design for that water main. And that's about it. So like I said, we don't have hard dollar figures right now, but I will report back to you with them. And I have to look through the asset management plan that Right Pierce has provided in the past, and also with the cost of labor and materials and such in COVID, obviously we saw that a few of the projects are higher priced than what Right Pierce had originally, and so we're going to have them sharpen their pencil and make sure that they give us proper quotations, so that when we go for appropriation, we're going to go for the proper appropriation and not fall short.
On the sewer side, don't we have the final 2 pump stations?
On the sewer side, I'm gonna ask for Morningside. Morningside will be the next pump station, and normally what I would do is I would ask for MTUs, but at this time, where we have, we do have some money that's going to be taken. We have enough money for MTUs to be taken care of at this time, especially when we're looking at possibly going in a different direction. So I'm not concerned with that, but I'll be looking for another sewer pump station that would be Morningside, that's up by Jarvis Farm, and we're trying to get one of these stations one at a time.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
Patrick.
concerning the pump stations, whenever a pump station is intermeddled with, maybe we should think about it being part of the Jarvis Farm parking lot situation.
Yeah, okay. That's an idea. Also, I thought isn't like in Walpole Park South or South Park, have we done those, or Ganawati Farm?
Well, that would be the next, Mr. Chairman. So we have Ganawat, we also have Eldor, and we have Morningside. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to do one a year, and hopefully.
Because I thought we were doing 2 a year.
Eldor Drive is done.
That's what I thought.
Eldor Drive is done. The only remaining 2 are Morningside and Ganawat.
Okay. All right. Anyone else have any?
One thing while we're on sewer capital improvements.
Yeah.
I know, Bill, that you read the draft sewer master plan from Western Gibson. We paid a good amount of money for that master plan. I don't see anything in it that needs to be changed. I think we should remove the draft stamp from it and formalize it as a formal sewer master plan. And what was on the master plan is, has anybody looked to see if there's any sewer extensions in any particular area of town that we'd like to do?
Well, as just maybe a couple meetings ago, I think it was on Norton Road, Norton Street. Someone wanted an extension, and when I looked up the master plan to see, that was, I think, the number one item. Now, it wasn't just to go halfway up, it was to go the full length, which, it's a short stretch. I know that there are, another one that's high up on the list is actually in my neighborhood, Conifer and Chandler and Birch Street. That area currently has a pump station in there, but the development is on sort of a slight hill, so everything on one side of the hill got sewered, everything on the other side doesn't.
So what I think we should do then is go through the sewer master plan, and all those improvements that you had seen that were previously listed as TBDs, cost to be determined.
Right.
Try to get costs for a phased approach to sewer extensions, and incorporating those into the sewer master. The sewer capital improvement.
Right. They do have costs, of course, in the draft book. Of course, they're a little old.
20 phases at $75 million or something like that.
Yeah. So they did actually give a cost for each one of the phases. They would have to be updated. And the other thing that you'll notice if you haven't taken a look at it, is that they are heavily depending on grinder pumps. So we wouldn't be adding a lot of pump stations as we have currently now. Just using the example of in my neighborhood, where there is a pump station, I mentioned it, the development's on a hill. Those that on the other side of the mound that didn't get sewered, they would be using what the draft report suggests is that they all have grinder pumps with a force main to get it up over the mound, and it would then go into the existing Chandler Road pump station and into the system. So
I have a question.
Yeah, Glenn?
Does it make sense as we approach the question of where we extend sewer to reach out to the neighbors to get a sense of who's interested in connecting? Because if we go up Norton Ave, which is a very short street, but if we went up Norton Ave and had, most people had updated septics and weren't really looking to connect in the next 5 years, then maybe we wouldn't want to target Norton compared to another area where there was more interest. Is that part of the approach, or you've done this before, Rick? How do you usually approach these kinds of things?
We did that not that long ago, Glenn, for the Clarkson Drive area. And unfortunately, at that particular time, a lot of the people up there had done their septic systems over, so they weren't inclined to take on a betterment assessment.
Yeah.
And plus, the current formulation of the betterment assessments it's pretty pricey for the homeowner.
Yeah.
I believe it's at 75% homeowner now.
Right.
So, that being said, some of those betterments could be pricey, but conversely, if you're looking at a $50,000 or $40,000 septic system, it may make sense. But we did send out a bunch of letters, and we could certainly do that again to targeted areas, and see what kind of interest there is there to actually go ahead and do this thing. But I know there's like the industrial road, production road area. There's one of the business owners up there that actually sent an email the other day, wants to come in and talk about the extension of sewers up in that area. I believe he's looking at the Biden infrastructure plan, where funds are going to be available for things similar to this. As to what we could actually get, I don't know, but that's one of the areas that we could potentially target as well. And I think we had already tied Clarkson Drive in with that, Bill. Maybe if you, I don't know if you remember or not. Patrick, do you remember?
I remember there was.
Clarkson Drive was one of those areas where the grinder pumps, I believe, were recommended for the houses.
Yeah, okay. So,
Really,
I mean,
to Glenn's point there, it is something that we have in the past asked potential users, would they connect? Because oftentimes people say, oh, I'd love to have sewer in here. I don't want to connect to it because, of course, then they start paying water bill. I'll wait for my system to fail before I connect. And, you know, so.
Right, and I think what we had done was we wanted I think we had come up with a plan, whereas we wanted like a 75% commitment of the people to connect if we went and constructed it. So sewer construction is very expensive. The total plan, again, over 20 years, I think was slated for $75 million. So it's expensive.
The other thing is when the betterments, which when we last charged them, I believe, Rick, you're right, it was like 75% of the cost of the project was borne by the homeowner. That other 25% was spread amongst all the remaining sewer ratepayers. So that's another consideration that, you know, a development, the people in that development might say, yeah, we want it, we need it.
Right, when it was 50, 25, 25.
Right.
The betterments were, well, more reasonable, and people were more amenable to, you know, to paying them. 50% sewer rate, 50% homeowner, 25 tax rate, and 25 sewer rate. But that's since changed to 75, 25. So.
Right. So anyway, it's a number of things to consider. Does everybody had a chance to look at the sewer master plan? It's a book that's about 1.5 inches thick, a lot of maps and in it.
I have it. It's on the shelf. I'm willing to take it off the shelf again.
Okay.
I read it when I got it. That was a couple of years ago. A year.
Why don't we, Mary? Why don't we put it on the agenda? Maybe we could start to take a look at it. I know that when they put sewer in on my street, there was a federal contribution, a state contribution, and then there was the local betterments. So the federal and state gradually went away, and then we stopped basically doing town sewer projects.
Well, the federal portion may come back, but
right. So, all right. That's all the items we have on the agenda. Is Mr. Spillane ready?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Roll call, John. John Spillane.
Aye.
John Hassenjager. I read his lips. He said aye. Glenn.
Aye.
Patrick.
Aye.
And Bill, aye. All right. Thanks, everybody. Mary, I'll be bringing the assigned abatements down to you shortly.
Okay, Bill, see you then.